Up next, we have Volkan Ertug, co-founder and CTO of Picus Security. Volkan's session is autonomous validation, the cornerstone of post-Mythos readiness in this post-Mythos era. The question is no longer whether your vulnerabilities can be exploited. We all know it's how fast they can be exploited. Volkan, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Thank you, Ron. Hello, everyone. We had great talks from David and Yingting. So at this point, I want to talk about how Picus can help you guys in this post-Mythos era. So I want to start the conversation with what the post-Mythos era means. Definitely, David has great points. Yingting nicely framed it and shared her views into that. And now I want to really summarize how we see it and how we can really contextualize it to build a response around it. So you guys already read about it and watch about it, but I don't want to talk a lot of it, only this one, but we know that Mythos is powerful. It's really have an edge in exploitation, exploit development, and vulnerability discovery. So that is why we are having this conversation today, I believe. And another thing, I guess, that go through the noise is not only Mythos, but Mythos graded models are really powerful, helping adversaries to run their operations in parallel. What I mean, so there is an AWS threat intelligence post I really like as a good example of this one. So adversaries are using Fortinet vulnerability or just a Fortinet campaign. What they're doing is that they find a misconfiguration of exposure in that system. And what they're doing is they're running 2,500 operations in 106 countries in parallel. As we all know, when we hear a PT group, a campaign is out, we see generally 3-5 organizations being affected on this one. But as we can see, with the LLMs, autonomy gets boosted by the adversaries too. So we're gonna see, and we are now seeing 2,500 devices, and probably organizations are being affected on those. So it's easy to get a target. It's not we need to be the lucky few, but we need to be maybe the lucky low early majority to get hit on this. And when we look at those campaigns, they go multi-step, advanced scenarios in an attack chain, and they go in minutes. And they don't need huge skill set because LLMs are helping them to make the decisions. LLMs can help them with the exploitation where they stuck. So this goes really wide packing, maybe to some extent for those. So this is a second pillar I want to highlight. And as we have the attacker timeline that is super accelerated and working in an autonomous way, if you look at our timeline, definitely, I'm talking lots of security practitioners and security leaders. I know that everyone is looking into how they can streamline their operations, invest in more tooling or optimize the tooling. But also, we shouldn't forget the case we have the spaghetti handoff, that's what we call it. We have different processes, we are hands-off to different teams, from CTI team to red team to blue team. Maybe your organization is not that big, but you have teammates that are pulled into meetings, that are pulled into, I don't know, reports or family emergencies or annual lists. So that makes us build our responses not as fast as the attacker timeline. So that's our handicap, that's the nature. So that's the reason definitely we are talking about autonomy in the blue teaming, in the defense side, but it takes time to get there, I believe. And everyone is looking into this view, and everyone is talking about vulnerability discovery to identifying a exploitation opportunity for that vulnerability. That window used to be really weeks and months old, as you can see the graph here, but now it's getting pretty thin. So the time window really shrink up to an hour. So that shows us that this is not the case. Like once a vulnerability been identified, in 1 hour, organizations are being attacked by the adversary groups. But we need to read it as once a vulnerability is identified, it doesn't have to be like NIST or someone in CNA to publish that, but GitHub security adversaries are also part of it. So once that being public and vulnerability and opportunity kicks in, so in 1 hour, an adversary can have the option to use it. This is how we need to read it. So this gives more tools, more weapons for the adversaries to attack to our environment. That is how I read it. It doesn't show that once a vulnerability is out in 1 hour, they're going to exploit us. No, they're going to say that, hey, if our tool set doesn't work, then we have other tools available in our stack. That is how we can read that one. And this is really like the nature of what we see outside from attackers, from adversaries' point of view. But if you look at what's going on in our organization, I guess after the Mythos, like the conversation becomes really like a board level conversation. We see several verticals, organizations get together to talk and publish reports and even invite CEOs to talk about it. And they define it as an unmanaged risk. Why it's an unmanaged risk? Because if you look at in the past, what we see is there is a data behind once a vulnerability is out, what's the exploit discovery time, and what is the exploitation to be armed by the adversaries. So there is like good understanding about what is risky, what's the risk that. And this is a technical, this is a known risk, and that's been built over a decade time. So this is really delegated to chief information security officers, and in their program, they can manage it. But now we are just in a new era. Like we don't know once a new vulnerability is out, is it being used by the attackers in an hour? What are the vulnerabilities out? When they're gonna attack us? What's the impact? How they're gonna chain it? And how they can run their autonomous attacks against us. So there are many unknowns. Definitely, that becomes a board conversation because it becomes an unmanaged risk, and everyone is really concerned about the business disruption of this one. So that is what we see, like more security leaders pulled into like business conversations, how we're going to manage it, that part. And this really, I guess, summarize what we see out there, like stronger models, autonomous attackers, and we have the organization spaghetti problem. The board is in. They're really putting pressure to really take an action on that. And we know that things can go fast, and we don't have the patching the patching window. So that is like very parallel to what Yingting and David has been talking about. So a bit rushed because like I'm sure you guys already listened this one quite some time, but like you're expecting in the session, what is the Picus response? So what you guys gonna do? What you guys gonna say? How we can help you guys on this one. So let's look into this one. A few weeks ago, once the Mythos like powerful models are out, we released the white paper around this one. So it is not like, hey, like you need to use Picus, it will help you a lot of things. No, we are very sincere, and what we say that like we work with our Security Operations Center team, our SecOps team, our InfoSec team. So what our practices are and how we look into this, how we are doing it for our organizations and our friends and families. We put it together in a document, and we share it out with the community. So I hope my team will gonna share the link as we talk here. So if you don't really have a chance to look into that, because like once you register this event, we send an email about this one. Maybe there are guys who look into that doing the homework there. Jokes aside, but how we frame it is like for this session, I don't want to go really deep because it's like 20-30 page report. I want to really focus on 3 aspects. The one of them is like how you identify your exposures, like your exposure visibility, your attack surface management part. So if you cannot see them, you cannot manage them, right? And the second part is, okay, we see our exposures, we see our attack surface. How are we going to shrink our attack surface? how we gonna reduce the risk of our exposures, provided that we cannot patch everything in the given time window. So what is like, how we can harden our network and endpoint security tooling, how we can improve our detection and response. So that's the two pillars, and there are many sub-items on this one, including the governance part. And one other chapter is like, how are you going to validate it? Like there will be folks, there will be teams saying that, okay, we improve our exposure visibility. So our vulnerability management program, we extend the scope. For attack surface management, we are doing this. Or for network, we get a service, we harden endpoint, we did this, detection response, incident response plans. Like they're going to say, and I'm sure many organizations are taking an action on that. But how do you know? How are you going to validate? Do you have proof for that? Do you have evidence for that? So that kicks in the validation piece, which I want to really move forward on that part, because that is like where we found the company 13 years ago. That's my PhD thesis topic. So the continuous pen testing is helping us the identification part, right? So we're going to look into how the pen testing will going to help us to have the coverage and the validation on the identification part. And the continuous security validation part will help us on the protection side. Is like, are we really hardened endpoint network and detection response tooling? So we're going to talk about that one. So moving forward, I'm going to use two pillars. One is defensive validation, which is around our breach attack simulation technology and our thought leadership on this one. And we're going to talk about with breach attack simulation, like my controls are working as expecting to detect and to prevent the malicious activity, and like how my assets are being protected with my defense tooling. And the offensive side, we're going to look into autonomous pen testing, which we're going to look into can attackers actually breach and what is really exploitable. And we're going to look into the feedback loop in between, because one side doesn't really give the whole answer, like how hardened my environment is and how I'm tackling the exposures, the other part. So one answer is not enough. We need to have both answers. So we're going to look into how to get each answer and how we're going to blend them together. So let's gonna start with the breach attack simulation. We are in the market for the last 13 years. We have been talking a lot. We are a Gartner Cool Vendor, and we are the leading provider in the space, player in the space. But I like this slide that like our team put together a couple of years ago. This really nicely simplified, but not oversimplified, what a breach attack simulation is. So there's like a threat landscape, and like running attack simulations, leveraging the TTPs in the threat landscape against your prevention layer and your detection layer. You see how much of them being blocked and how much being detected, or at the same time prevented and detected. Then you're going to see the residual risk, which is like, what are the threats I don't have any visibility, neither prevention nor detection, or how many of them are detected, but I really want to block this one, so that you can flag them as, hey, I need to not only detect, but respond into that. Then the last part is, okay, I have prevention. I can see that this thing prevented, but I don't have any visibility on that one. So there are like three categories you want to look into this. And I told, like, it's a simplified version, because like none of the organizations out there has a single prevention layer technology and a detection layer technology. You name it, like you have maybe 10 prevention, 20 detection, or vice versa, up to 70 different technologies. And how many policies in each technologies, how many devices, how many instances of those technologies out there. So that makes that simple picture super complicated. I want to keep it simple, but just this is really a big problem. That's the reason, I guess, we have been working, always improving the breach attack simulation part. So I'm going to talk the evolution, or how you guys need to mature in your security validation program, in the next slides on this one. So, but what is the value offer for breach attack simulation? So the first one is new threats out there, APT groups, ransomwares, or an exploit, like you see campaign, or you see an incident. It can become from internal intelligence your CTI providers or from the news or open source intelligence, how you can really have an answer on this one. Am I ready for this? How ready we are or how we need to respond in this. So like understanding the threat and mobilizing that threat is important. The moment you mobilize it, you're going to get an understanding about your controls. Oh, now, okay, I validate my controls and I have a response. I have a visibility. What's my posture? And based on those posture, then you're going to decide that, okay, what's my strengths and weaknesses? Strengths, that's great. You need to report to your leadership saying that actually you guys spent this much $1 million to our security program. Here's our strength. I'm not coming always with the bad news here. And no one has 100% security. Definitely there will be points that has to be prioritized and take action on. So these are the gaps like you're gonna focus on before attackers find them and abuse them. And this helps you to harden your network endpoint detection response programs so that you can not only maximize the ROI of what you have, but also harden and reduce the attack surface and help your organization to buy time to do the hardening or patching in your environment. So that is the value, the core value of what VAS to offer. But these are not the only highlights I want to talk about, but I want to also look into the what we learn as an industry, how we evolve in this. So one of the lessons we learned is if the scope is not accurate, what I'm saying is that, hey, I install an agent and I'm running attack simulations for my best EDR. And I have an idea. I hardened, I pull up a policy, I harden it, I test it. I'm doing really great, 99%, whatever. Or network security, like you have a next generation firewall, you configure it with multiple blades and you test it, you get 99. So it's not like the game we want to really have a greatest high score, but this is about the game. What are your policies? Like you have 10,000 or 100,000 endpoints. How many dominant policies? Let's say you have 3 policies. So you want to, or you need to assess that 3 policies, not a lab policy, not a testing policy. So the scoping is really important, what you want to validate. Not only validating your main gates, but also looking what are the point-to-point connections to your organizations from your third parties for a supply chain attack. This is something real. Or what are the other organizations, maybe you do an M&A and they get together in your environment. So like we need to really scope it smart way to really get the value and get the visibility around it. Else it may create even a false sense of safety. And another thing is like the coverage, like the threat coverage, which attacks we are running it. So I see the examples like Picus has like great number of threats in our library. We have SLAs to address the CSLRs in 24 hours, and each and every day we are looking into what the adversaries are doing, what are the security researchers are figuring out. We put everything together. So if you don't have a threat model, if you don't have really a plan what you are testing, then you said that, okay, I want to throw everything, I want to see how it goes. Then actually in that 50,000, 100,000 TTPs you emulated, you simulated, actually you sometimes miss the signal because you get lost into, okay, I have a great coverage assessment, but what's the value? What you are really looking into this, a haystack becomes really tricky. So we need to be mindful about that one. And every environment is different. So it's not like, okay, I tested once, I'm done. Environments are dynamic, they're changing. So, oh, okay, my partner or this region we tested, we don't need to test it in the other region. So these are the 3 things we see organizations are suffering or neglecting to really have a successful security validation program. So please be mindful on those because like the time window is shrinking. We need to make less mistakes. We need to adapt and iterate fast. So the 3 lessons we learned is all linked to content. What I mean with the content, it's actually the context of the organization. So if we really understand the organizational context, we figure out that actually we can raise a flag because like we don't want you guys make mistakes. and we get in being the superhero. No, we want you guys to be superhero. You want to really leverage the Picus technology to make it actionable and to get the great results to increase your security posture. So that's the way we add security contracts into the picture so that we can address those. And once we add organizational context into that, we also get like the asset visibility, business criticality, and vulnerability context. Then what we did is, as we have that overlaid on the security controls, we have interesting findings, which we have been talking about exposure validation concept that Gartner defined as adversarial exposure validation and renamed the space. So you can be, you have the visibility saying that these are the controls that are not blocking the CTP, and I have a relevant asset, and that asset has a vulnerability on that. So that is all linked together. That makes not only external context-based prioritization of your vulnerabilities, but you have the internal context to really prioritize things. So that is like a game changer, because not always you get the bad news, I need to do more prioritization, because generally you always hit CVSS 9 to 10, which becomes critical, and you have a lot of those. But the upside of this, the BAS give you your hardened security controls, and when you correlate them to your business context, then you can say that actually I have a WAF, I have an IPS, I have EDR, and I have SIM visibility, so I can really reduce the critical of that vulnerability for my environment because of the environmental parameters I have based on CVSS. So Picus can help you test that one out.
Hey, Volkan, a question just came in. It says, how does Picus leverage context inside of BAS? How would you answer that one?
So once we have the asset visibility, once we have the business criticality and vulnerability context, then Picus can recommend that actually you have 3 agents, you're testing these policies, but actually you missed the mark, you need to test these policies. You need to have, when you install everything in your Linux systems, let's say Red Hat, something, and a Windows server, a degraded version, but actually you need to install it, your endpoint Windows system, you need to install it, your latest, greatest Windows server version. So this visibility help for us, the organizations, to talk about how do they better scope, how do they have better coverage. So the coverage reporting is also coming up in the Picus breach attack simulation part. So we are also getting that context into the security effectiveness. And maybe some of the folks here already saw that one, but we also get into risk quantification. Risk quantification is helping organizations have an understanding about monetary risk, dollar value risk of that exposures that the organization have. So we have the business context blended by security control effectiveness to come with a risk quantification too, and it's available in our product, and you get the basic report included in your package, in your licensing too. Great question, thank you. The last iteration we had, and last year in Black Hat, that's what we announced, is the Agentic breach attack simulation. So the LLMs get more powerful, the autonomy kicks in. So we look into how we can accelerate to understanding the threat, to responding to threat cycle. And we see that like our red team is working day and night. We see that our customers are building custom threats. They're building campaigns to run those simulations to understand where they are. But the idea is, can we really make it autonomous, leveraging the LLMs to make it machine speed? And our response is this one. That's what we announced. So we introduced 4 agents. Agent researcher is looking into getting a prompt from the user. We're going to see in a second, but let's say Fin8 or a ransomware gang, you can call by their name, or you can put a URL. You can say that, hey, this is the threat report I have. I want to build a campaign around this. You name it. And the agent researcher is using Picus source CTI and open source intelligence and the Picus know-how there to build a finished threat intel report. And this moves to the agent red teamer, which the agent red teamer look into what is the Picus threat library look like, what are the TTPs out there, available in the store, in the threat library, then it leverages the threats there, the actions there to build a campaign in a full automated manner. Then it moves to the agent simulator. So you can use an AI agent to interact with prompt interface to set out, I want to run a simulation and I want to take actions leveraging the agent coordinator. So this is like what we launched, and this is really helping organizations to do manually like a week of job in 3 minutes. And this is AI assisted, as you're going to see in a second. And like in the upcoming minutes, I'm going to talk about how we're going to make it fully autonomous, no human touch, no human in the loop, in the machine speed way. So let's get ready for the threat readiness using Picus Agentic flow, Agentic path part. So this is like the interface that you put saying that, hey, I got an URL. I want to look into how I'm ready for this, because like your manager emailed you or you get tasked for this one. So what you're doing is that, okay, I get it from Security Magazine or a link or a post or maybe a CISA announcement. So you look into what a threat campaign is going to look like. You look into Picus Threat Library. We cannot pre-stage everything and anything. So you don't see it there. Then you put it here and you give it to the research agent. And what the research agent does is like, okay, I research it. I find all the TTPs relevant for that one. So here's the plan. Then it just prompts you what you want to do. And what you're doing is, okay, I want to build a campaign. And my motivation is I want to understand my readiness on the endpoint side, like on the post-exploitation side. You can build a whole campaign, starting with email, phishing, then extended to network infiltration endpoint. But let's say in this example, we want to build a post-exploitation campaign on this one. So we have it. Then you said, okay, I want to simulate it. You choose one of the agents you have, and you click it, like the Picus Numi AI agent help you in an AI-assisted way to look into your simulation results. Then you said that, okay, I understand my prevention rate, but I want to see how my detection responded to that. And you said, okay, I'm using CrowdStrike, Splunk, I'm going to use both. Hey, give me my visibility. And when you run it, then what you're going to get is, here is the log sources I have, what's been triggered, what's been fired on the alerting side, and what's your security readiness for this threat group and this campaign for FIN8. Then you said that, okay, that's great, but I want to take improvements, how I can harden my environment. Then Numi will tell you that here is the TTPs you can focus on. This is what are the prioritized one, and these are the actions I recommend. And with one click, you can say that, okay, deploy it, please, and revalidate it. So with one click, with one prompt, you can deploy it, and then you can run another simulation, and you're going to see in a second that the very right thread there, now it turned to alerted. You see it's being responded, and now you have a response to that, like you have a hardened security control, and you get a alerting for that one. And the moment you said, hey, I want to have a report for this, because like it's tasked by my leadership team. So you get the report, you can customize it, or you want to write it with LLM based on like less visual or more executive summary. Definitely you can chat with Numi to help that one, and that will take us to like your response and your reporting. So that is how it looks like here. So I just rush it, I know, but I want to also talk about pentest automation and how to make it autonomous. So it just gives a view about how the breach attack simulation, the agentic version, is working end-to-end in an AI-assisted way. And you're going to say that, hey, Volkan, like you prompt here, like you don't really do the machine speed, like it's still human speed, human assisted. That's right. Hold on with me to the part 5. But before going there, we want to talk about autonomous pen testing. That's the second pillar, right? You remember the defense validation. That's what we did. Now we want to do the offense validation part. So what does it mean? Like we have been in the autonomous pen testing market for quite some time, and we maybe you have been using our technology over years time, but like to give an understanding about, for the ones who are not familiar with the concept, like the recon, exploitation, proving, and the prioritization is our loop. So we have been doing software-defined phases over the years time. Now we are improving our technology to add LLM power into the journey in our decision engines, so we can really use LLMs to better map and better discover, better make decisions while building the attack surface. Then on the exploitation side, we can use the power of LLMs, building the exploitation, running the exploitation. For the ones that fail, LLMs can iterate and help to make the exploitation successful. And we get the organizational context, and we can prove that this attack path can reach the crown jewels, and that's the impact for the organizations. And we also help organizations to identify what are the remediation options, what's the critical attack path we need to break, what's the choke points, and keep going on this cycle. So that is a definition of autonomous pen testing for us. And what it delivers, it helps you to focus on exploitable exposures. You understand, like, hey, I have 100,000 vulnerabilities. Which ones can be used as jumping stones to really build an attack path to create a big impact for you? And as you guys know, it's not really the case like attackers are going to use anything over 9 and above. They don't care about the CVS scoring. They're looking into how they can chain things together to make it happen. And it's also, it may surprise you to see that what low information level exposures can be used in critical attack paths. So the first value is around that one. And the second one, it operates in machine speed. Definitely, you guys may have red teamers or pen testing team or pen testing services. That's great to keep them because human creativity, scalability is great, but in order to really run it in an ongoing manner, we believe that an autonomous pen testing tooling or multiple tooling help you to make it happen in the machine speed. And the critical attack paths help you guys to build the risk sentences to your leadership, saying that this is how we see what an attacker can impact leveraging these vulnerabilities. It's not only reporting to the board level, but also it's also important to communicate with the IT teams. Like IT teams going to say that we are busy, we don't want to do this, we're going to do it next week. But when you talk about the business impact language, definitely the tone changes there. We are getting end of our slot, so I want to jump in a demo to show you how it works. It's just a short video because like each product we are covering here takes a lot of time by its own. So just giving you a look and feel. So that's like a dashboard of a report and an executed summary curated based on the simulated attack. So the automated pen testing and run, you're going to see that what is the impact and what's the campaign going to look like. And here you see the attack path. In this campaign, we see a successful attack path, how it started, how it became a domain admin in the environment, the critical attack path, and the attack path. Picus highlights what are the highly mitigatable activities that organizations can respond into. So these are being documented and highlighted. And you can always go to the attack map and saying that you can see how Picus started at what are the each attacks steps going to look like, what's the attack chain going to look like, what are all the findings going to look like. So definitely attack paths help you to prioritize, but you want to see the whole exposure list. You want to see all the artifacts. You want to see, and you want to configure how Picus automated pen testing iterate in your environment. And that's the working console. You can really understand how it goes. Nothing is black magic. Nothing is under the hood. Whatever we did, whatever we find, everything is listed here. So that's scratching the surface. I know like we can talk a lot. I hope we will have dedicated sessions for that, but that is like how much I can cover for today. And I want to also share like my learnings about pen test automation here. So one of the topics I learned talking to lots of organizations is that hey, I have a Picus agent or I have a Pentest automation agent I deploy my environment. So it's scanning my environment. That's good as a starting point, but like you need to have multiple entry points. Like, can you imagine that you have a computer, a server that can access all your environment, all your servers, all your applications, all your cloud infrastructure, all your other organizations? It's not possible. You don't want to have it. Like, if you have it, you want to kill it, right? Because it's very dangerous to put all the eggs in the same basket. So, with your segmentation, with your zero trust strategy, with your access rule, you want to have multiple entry points. And the second learning is, like, we see that scopes are defined. Hey, this is sensitive. This is critical part. This is my IoT network. This is my, I don't know, ATM network. So I don't want to really mess this. So let's skip that one. I can understand. That's fine. But if you're not doing Pentest automation, but you want to be sure that you're doing maybe breach attack simulation, you want to really be sure what you are missing, what you're not looking into that one. You cannot say that, hey, I run Pentest automation from this agent. I have 60 really great findings. I'm done. I'm going to run it once a month. No, this is also giving you a false hope sense safety. Be mindful about that one. And exclusions, that's part of the world, because like none of the organizations have unlimited resources. If you have a really locked down, hardened environment, you may want to give that simulation, a Pentest automation agent to access different segments, different regions, so that you want to run those operations in a more graceful manner. So these are the learnings I want to share about this one. And this takes us to better together slide, which is like we have the defensive perspective, improving the defense tooling we have with breach attack simulation, and we have the offensive perspective with automated pen testing, helping us how attackers can breach question. So one is coming up with attack paths, validated exposures. The other one is coming from the angle like how we can improve our control effectiveness. And it's not like, hey, which should I go with? Can I go with BAS or should I go with automated pen testing? We believe they're complementary. They had to be together to really add value in your validation program. So that's the reason we have both, and we have quite some number of customers who are starting from both avenues at the same time. So I want to talk about my promise. So we said that machine speed on the defense side is important because adversaries are there. So this is the last part. That's the innovation we are adding. So I'm a bit nervous sharing this one because like this is still in our design partners, in our beta customers. But being a thought leader in the space, we want to also communicate with our stakeholders, our community here. So like we decided to share what we have with the Picus Swarm. Get ready for autonomous security validation. All right. So the Agentic, we guys are reading all our LinkedIn feeds, all our emails, and everything is AI agents, Agentic. So I'm sure you guys are familiar with that. But like as the 101s, like we have the tooling, we have the breach attack simulation, automated pen testing, we have CTI tooling, we have vulnerability scanners, web app scanners, you name it. You have lots of proactive security tooling. And you're using it with this tooling with multiple teams, red team, pen test team, VM team, even blue teamers. And you have your own workflows, rules, operating procedures. And what holds us back is we need to learn using those tools. We need to put our brain scheduling things in a weekly basis, in a daily basis. And we have certain ways to generate the reports, putting into our ticketing systems and taking action on that. So like we always need to be on top of that to be sure that our workflows being updated based on our needs, our operating procedures. But AI really helps us on that one. So can we do this? Like connect our tooling to the AI agents and teach and code it how our workflows, rules, and operating procedures actually need to work, and let LLM do the heavy lifting, and you became the orchestrator. You don't become the practitioner who is doing the heavy lifting. Let agents do the heavy lifting, and let you guys be more strategic. Get away from operational load, have some space, which is a luxury in cyber, to be transparent. Same for me here, for my company. So can we not automate the runs, but can we put autonomy to our runs and our workflow? That's the deal here. That's what we have been working for a few months, I would say. We are very excited about what we have here. And you guys are going to say that, okay, Volkan, that's great, autonomy, but hey, that man, like it's hard. Like we want to be there, but at the same time, we don't want to be there. Sure, same here. So like you cannot go to maturity level 1, level 5 in a day, right? So what you want to do, what we are doing, what we have been doing is we start manually. Hey, let me run a simulation. Let me run a pen test. Let me see how it goes. Oh, I like it. It works. Okay, I want to schedule it in a weekly basis. It works. Oh, now Picus introduced AI agents. So like as we discussed, like AI assisted, hey, Numi, help me run this one. Build a thread, build a campaign, do this and that. So that's the natural evolution. Like you did crawling, then you walk. And for the use cases, for the flows you are comfortable, then you go, man, saying that I'm going to do full autonomy. Then you said that, hey, here's my workflow, do it. I'm going to review it. So you became the strategic person, you audit it, you coach it, saying, no, you missed this mark here, you need to do this and that. So this is like the evolution. This is what we witness with quite a number of our customers. And this is what we want to share today. Volkan, what does it mean? So I'm an example person, so I want to really run you guys with this example. So emerging threat use case. I like this one because it includes both the red teamer and the blue teamer. So what we are looking into, I got a threat intel from CISA. CISA sent me an email, or I pulled it, and I see that, okay, there's like this AR25 alert. Perfect. What does it mean? What I need to do? Like every organization has a business process, a flow. Whenever they have time, they're doing it, or they partially or fully automated that one. But let's look into how agentic workflows can help us with that. So it's going to start like that. Hey, CTI agent, monitor the signal. And once you see a signal, which is the CISA alert today, in this example, extract the TTP, CVEs, IOCs, and communicate with the CTI software, the tooling you have, and get all the context, what we can enrich, how much we can enrich about that alert. So we enrich that one. Then CTI analyst will push it to the baseliner, and baseliner said that, oh, okay, there is a new threat, and let me see what our baseline will going to change based on this one, because it's a relevant threat for us. I'll look into what the CTI feed provided to me. Perfect. And baseliner sipped that one, said that, okay, I want to pull data from my exposure assessment platform, breach attack simulation, and pentest automation platform. Perfect. It pulled that data, and most probably it's a new threat, so there's no result for that. Oh, we don't know anything. It's a new CV, it's a new TTP. Okay, then the baseline we're going to say that, hey, red teamer agent, hey, pentester agent, initiate the breach attack simulation, initiate the pentest automation assessment. So scope, coverage, everything is driven with the previous agent, and red teamer and pentester run that simulations and bring back all the data back to the baseliner. Then what baseliner we're going to do that? Okay, now I get all the data from the tooling. Now I have a better understanding. Maybe my goal is 90. That makes me into 85. Okay, that's not good. So I need to mobilize it. So it invokes the mobilizer, saying that, hey, mobilizer, we need to take an action that. And based on your strategy, it will be like, hey, this is like a critical finding with low risk mitigation. Perfect. Auto deploy it. For the ones that are like moderate risk, high risk, maybe IPS rule, a WAF rule to be enabled, then open a ticket. So the mobilizer is going to make that one. And in the meantime, the reporter agent will say that, hey, I capture a CISA report. This is all the process we run. And this is what we want to do. Give a report, a PDF, executive view to the leadership, and a technical view to the SOC team and to the red team. So this is like a CISA email, and everything is going to go by its own. And it will help you guys save a lot of time. So that's what I'm excited is we revealed this one. So let's look into this. When you log in, you're going to see a prompt-based interface. You're going to say what I'm going to prompt. So we already put some pre-prompt use cases together. So you see an emerging threat flow here. You see different agents. We call them workers. They're working here. And when you look into the intelligence, it's saying that where the system is monitoring in terms of getting signals, getting changes about their environment. Once the signals are kicked in and the discovery agent, so we're going to run this flow now to see how it goes for with your own eyes. So then the discovery agent is looking into, okay, now I have some information from the CTI. I enrich it. I'm looking into, is it relevant for our environment? Then how it's going to flow is I'm going to run attack simulations. I need to understand the findings, and I need to build a report. So you can see only for a single CV, step by step, how it goes is listed here. So, and on the left-hand side, you see the pipeline there. There are new signals kicking in, and they're just in the line. Once this is executed, you're going to see the other ones still going to kick in. So this is how it goes in terms of how a workflow is built and executed. And once you have this executed, you can go into the reporting part, look into, hey, what are the workflow, how it runs, because like everyone is concerned about, okay, now it's AI agents. If one of the agents is really missed the mark, other agents are gonna mess it up. So you want to see every step of the execution. You want to see how each agent is executing. You want to see how each action item is being executed. So there is nothing under the hood, nothing is hidden, like the Picus way. We always share it with our users so they can understand how it works. And if they want to curate, they want to improve it, they can improve it. And if like this is the like a working screen, if you don't really get the answers, then you can prompt, or you can prompt to change the screen. You can prompt to change the reporting, because also there's a reporting agent. So you can see it as like an admin console. This is not the reporting, the shiny reporting interface. This is like to be sure that your workflow is working. It's like your operator panel. And let's say another use case. So are you ready for Iranian attacks? I have CrowdStrike, let me know my gaps and how I can respond into that. So you can prompt it. So it's very similar to the emerging threat case, but you're going to see the same workflow, same workers or similar workers are going to kick in. I picked this example because I want to show how things can be customized when you go out of blue with your own use case, with your own prompt. So you can do that one. And what you can also say that, hey, I like this, but I don't like it at the same time. So can you put another reporting, because mobilization can save time, and I don't want to wait. Once you have the validation, give me reporting, and the reporting can be like maybe an email saying that this happened, or a Slack telling me if there's something critical I need to action on before mobilization and reporting. So you can define it, or you can definitely not really stuck into this 4 agents, for 4 workers. You can also configure what kind of workers you want to add. Like we have a worker library, as you can see here, or you can introduce your own workers, your agents, and you can configure and iterate them. And once you have the workflows, then you can see that, configure them. I want to run this workflow manually. I want to schedule it, and I want to run it autonomously. As the example, a CSLR kicks in, it works. So that's what you have been building. As I said, I'm pretty excited about this one. And I'm proud to share what we up to. And if you're really interested, if it is catching your attention, reach to us. We love to engage and give you access to our early availability version. And this is the wrap. I know it has been a lot. We talk about pentest automation, breach attack simulation, autonomous validation scope. But as we discussed, like identify, protect, verify has to be like a feedback loop. And in order to really improve your identification and the protection, you need to have the verify from proactive perspective with offensive validation and defensive validation, breach attack simulation, and pentest automation. And in order to go to machine speed, you need to take it up to the autonomous validation.
All right, we have some questions from the audience. The first one reads, what type of threat input can I enter other than a URL? Can I use my own CTI?
Other than URL, you can put a file, you can put a threat actor name, you can put a vulnerability name. So like we are pretty much very flexible in terms of what you are putting there. And about the CTI feed, currently we don't support it. Like we use predefined CTI sources, but it's under development. In the near future, organizations will be able to feed their CTI feeds so that we can look into the CTI enrichment while building the campaigns from that angle.
Okay, we are running a little tight on time, but I think we could squeeze in one more question. This next one and final one reads, are you able to bring your own tools into Picus Swarm? How would you answer that one, Volkan?
Yeah, definitely. That's the core idea. Like we are a vendor that we pioneer breach attack simulation, and we have autonomous pen testing and some more tooling available on the proactive security. But like we don't say that we are a close community. Like definitely we welcome every CTI or every vulnerability management or relevant tooling. But our view is we want to be on the proactive side. So we are looking into any proactive tooling, get into the pipeline, like coding security, application security findings, get into this flow. Definitely, these are all more than welcome. So organization can use those tooling to run their agentic workflows on that.
Volkan, thank you so much for your session. And also thank you for helping put all this together. And we're not done yet. We got a little bit more. We have a really good session coming up. But first, I think it's important to say that there's a lot to process here. And what I'm picking up most is once you layer agentic workflows with Picus Swarm, you can finally operate at the same speed as the attackers. We'd love to hear what your takeaways are from Volkan's session. So be sure to drop them into the chat. And we're going to flow right into our next and final session of the day.